Welcome to In the Groove with Todd and Jackie, the podcast where good vibes meet great conversations and change makers take center stage.
Each week, we sit down with inspiring authors, impactful speakers, and visionary leaders who are making a difference in the world.
We're bringing you powerful insights, engaging stories, and actionable ideas to amplify your voice and spark meaningful change.
So get ready to get in the groove as we dive into conversations that uplift, inspire, and empower.
Now, here's Todd and Jackie.
Hey, it's another groovy day, and that's because, well, we make it that way. Welcome to In the Groove with Todd and Jackie. I'm Todd.
I'm Jackie, and this is the podcast where good vibes meet great conversations and change makers take center stage.
That's right. We're talking to people who want to expand their mission, their message, and maybe even monetize their business with their message.
And besides this podcast, Todd and I get in the groove through our Family Talks Retreat that is happening this April 2026 in Costa Rica, and is an opportunity for parents, kids, grandparents, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, everybody. We're all members of a family to come to Costa Rica and raft in on a class 3 or 4, depending on the time of year, river to get to this lodge where we will stay for 5 days. All of your meals are covered. You'll stay in a private cabin with your family, very little Wi-Fi, so you can disconnect from all the stuff that is taking you away from each other and reconnect with each other and leave with stronger family bonds, understanding each other better. Everybody will have their signature talk crafted, practiced, and delivered to the audience of families there. So where can they find out about our Family Talks Retreat?
Well, you forgot to tell them that it's all about fun. It isn't about work, but it is all about fun. And it's in the jungle. There's an 8-part zip line. There's river swimming, river rafting. Oh my gosh, the list goes on and on and on. So not only are you going to get connected, but you're going to make some amazing memories that will last an entire lifetime. Now, to find out more, you can go to toddandjackie.com. Click on the Impact and Outreach tab, and then go to Costa Rica Retreats. There you'll find all the information, and you can even click the sign-up button while you're there. If you have more questions, though, be sure to reach out, because we would love to have you, and we would love to answer your questions.
Yep. Awesome. Okay. Well, bringing good vibes today so that we can have a great conversation is changemaker Michelle Jewsbury. She's been on our show before when it was Life Mastery Radio with Todd and Jackie. In fact, I think she's been on a couple times with us. And so she's doing some amazing things in the world. I'm so delighted to have her back. So let me tell you a little bit about her. She is a global breakthrough specialist. Michelle helps people use their story to make an impact. She hosts Legacy Camp and does one-to-one coaching. And she's looking for authors for her 5th book collaboration, because the 4th one is being published in March of this year. And you can find all about Michelle at breakingthesilence.us. Michelle, welcome to In the Groove with Todd and Jackie.
Super excited to be here, guys.
Great to have you back.
So, Michelle, we have this amazing audience tuned into our podcast today, and they want to know what it is that they're going to take away from the show today after listening to us have a great discussion.
Got it. So you want me to answer the question before they even listen to the story?
Absolutely.
How
you
funny.
Them to hang around.
Yeah, no, that's great. So everybody who is tuning in and listening, I was able to use adversity to then turn around and help other people with my story. And I didn't realize the impact of a domino effect of change. So you will understand that no matter what it is that you've gone through in your life, you can turn your life around and use your experiences to help others. And we'll show you exactly how to do that.
Yeah,
Nice.
That's awesome. And I appreciate, Michelle, that you're helping so many people come to that realization. And I'm sure our audience now is a little bit curious about what are some of those adversities that you've gone through that now are a blessing in your life and allow you to change the lives of so many people. Are you willing to go into
Of
that
course.
story
Yeah,
mode?
yeah, of
All
course, of
right.
course. I
Awesome.
mean, Jack, you've heard my story from nitty gritty all the way until growing through this now. So at the
Yes.
time of this recording, it's now January of 2026. I ended up going through a very tough situation in 2012. I grew up in a small town, moved around my whole life. My daddy was in the military, decided to move to Hollywood, California after graduating high school. And when I moved to Hollywood to pursue an acting career, I thought I was on my way to stardom, fame, fortune, you
Hmm.
name it. And I was starring in plays and little bit parts here and there. My claim to fame is a Papa Murphy's pizza commercial. If you're on the west coast of the US, you know Papa Murphy's. However, I ended up meeting somebody who I thought was my Prince Charming. And in 2012, he had beat me so long that I was black and blue for over 9 months. People thought that I had jaundice. I didn't understand that I was in an abusive situation. It didn't start that way, of course. It started with the charm and the let me buy you this, let me love you, let me tell you how much I admire you, and then all of a sudden it was the gaslighting and the abuse from sexual violence, emotional manipulation, physical abuse, and psychological. In 2015, roughly the end of 2015, I finally escaped that situation. And I began to document my story just because I felt like writing would help me. And when I documented that story, it first came out in a play format. So I ended up writing and performing a 65-minute solo play about my experience in domestic violence. And that's when people started coming up to me and telling me their stories, not just of overcoming DV, but of sexual abuse or anxiety or depression or addiction, you name it, all different types of adversities. Well, I look up at God and I said, okay, this is way bigger than me. What do you want me to do now? 2017, I founded a nonprofit organization called Unsilenced Voices, and we'll get into some of that now. We work primarily in Sierra Leone. We've done work in Ghana, Rwanda, and the US as well. And then in 2019, I wrote my first book called But I Love Him, and then started speaking and coaching. And it was on that journey that I discovered it's not about me, but helping other people share
Right.
their stories. So that's just a little bit about me, and I'm sure Jackie and Todd here have some questions.
Yeah, that was a really nice summarization, though. Really great. Right.
I've only been doing this for a couple months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, let's just talk about the books. You know,
Okay.
you're putting out two a year now. Started out with just one, and these are collaboration books, I'm assuming, of people who have stories.
Yeah, so my first book was my story called But I Love Him, which was released in 2019. And then I put out my second full-length book in 2021, I think, maybe 2022. But it was along that path that I was like, I really should help other people. So we put together volume one of Breaking the Silence, Voices of Survivors. And we found authors from Facebook, different groups online, speaking engagements, you name it, people who wanted to share their stories to help other people. And when we published, we hit number one bestseller in multiple categories, number one new release. And the first book was actually featured on ABC Action News. And I believe it was
Wow.
Fox 13 for the first book, maybe Bay News 9. But from there, we just kept getting so much exposure. So I thought that this was a really lovely way to help other people tell their stories. And it's one full chapter that authors get. So it's roughly 4,000 words, about 9 pages. They're able to do their past, their present, their future, and a call to action. We do all the editing for them. I have an in-house editor. We do cover design and then have this really glamorous book launch party. And this book launch party, we're back at the Oxford Exchange for Volume 4 in Tampa, Florida. We've been at the Oxford Exchange now 3 times, and we are searching for Volume 5 authors. So
Yeah.
it's great. It's a lot of exposure. We've been featured on ABC, NBC, Bloom TV, Bay News 9, and Fox 13. So,
Wow.
so much because of the collaborations. And it's really great for our authors to be able to use that exposure to go on and fulfill their dreams of becoming speakers or
Mm.
content creators or hosts or authors themselves of their own books. So, so many different opportunities.
I love that because I was going to ask you, what do you feel are some of the main benefits that these authors are getting by being part of this collaboration? But you went ahead and you named that. But because I have been a part of some collaborative books as well, I recognize the power of the community,
Hmm.
especially when it's a themed book. Like all these people are sharing their own stories of breaking their silence and coming out of traumatic experiences and being better for it. It just allows you, it's always allowed me anyway, to heal from my own trauma a little bit more in being part of that community of other survivors, right? And so I'm sure that it is not just an exposure benefit, but it's a healing. There's a factor of
Oh,
healing to it from each of
oh,
these
100%.
authors.
Yeah, 100%. Most of the authors that we work with, they've never told their story before.
Right.
So we have monthly meetings leading up to publication. So I work with them, I help them craft their story, figure out how much of their story to put in the book. With 4,000 words, you don't want to divulge too much negative energy. Of course, you want to
Right.
share your story and your journey, but figure out how you can provide hope to the reader. So, like you said, that I already kind of touched upon, a lot of our authors literally go on and do amazing things. Martha Cartui, she's a really great example. She published in volume one. She went on 6 months later, published her own book, and now she's speaking on stages larger than I've ever been on.
Mm.
And I've been
Wow.
on over 200 plus stages.
Wow.
Trent Brock, you know, he went through Legacy Camp. He published with us 3 times in Breaking the Silence. He's a 3-time cancer survivor. Now he speaks to the Mayo Clinic and he's an advocate for those patients who need to learn the medical system in order to overcome those challenges. Those are just 2 out of 80 of the authors
Yeah.
that we've worked with. So,
That
Yeah.
yeah,
is
so
so
it's a lot.
cool.
It's incredible.
Because I was going to ask you, here you're like one step ahead of both of us today. Because I was going to ask you, give us some examples of some of the successes that your contributors have experienced because of being in the book, and you went right into it. So
Yeah, and
I
then the book launch party, a lot of them get to speak on stage for the first
yes,
time,
Hmm.
share their journey. It's very short. It's like 2 to 3 minutes. But man, Jackie, you know this. 2 to 3 minutes sometimes on stage feels like a long
It
time, can
does.
feel like
It
yeah,
does.
eternity. And then we have, videographer, photographer, they get to keep that footage, use it. So there's a lot of benefits. Healing is definitely one of them. And being able to provide hope to other people is really the essential aspect.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like feeling like you can share your vulnerability because you're with people that are going to say your underwear's down, or something. They're gonna have your back, basically,
Yeah.
right? And for a lot of people who, like you said, are telling their story for the first time, that's what's held them back in a lot of cases is because they weren't sure if anybody would support them, believe them, leave their life, whatever it might be. And so again, be able to go on stage and be in this community of fellow authors and all of you sharing your vulnerability at the same time celebrating. I think it's so cool. It's a great
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah, it really
So
is. And I'm
maybe
very
this is a
thankful.
good time then to just tell them how they would learn about that opportunity from you and what's the next steps if they're interested.
Yeah, of course. So, Jackie, the website that you said earlier, breakingthesilence.us, they can go to that website, learn more information about the collaboration, about what it entails, what they get from being a participant. And then once they're ready to schedule an interview or call with me, then they can go on, they can book a call with me off of that site as well. And then it's kind of like a little interview just to find out who you are, what story you want to share, if you're a good fit. We only have 20 authors at a time max in each one of our collaborations. For volume 5, we're planning to publish that in September of 2026, and we currently have about 13 spots remaining. So it is quite limited, but I would highly recommend people to participate. There is a fee, and we'll talk about that as well once you get on that call.
Yeah. Are some of the authors from the previous books writing again, or are you trying to get mostly newbies in the collaboration with you?
So in volume 5, we have 2 authors that are writing their story again from volume 4, but they're different stories. So for example, Yamika, last volume, she talked about domestic violence. This volume, she's talking about her daughter who has an autoimmune disorder. Beverly, she's published with us multiple times as well. First one was domestic violence issues. Second one, suicide. Her third volume that she's doing with us in volume 4, she's talking a lot about like healthcare and holistic medicine. So there's a lot of people who continue, and they just tell different stories in the collaboration.
Right.
Very cool.
That is really cool. Awesome.
Well, I think at this point, I need a breather and you need a breather. So we're going to take a little break. Stay tuned. We've got more with Michelle right after this.
Besides podcasting, Todd and Jackie get in the groove through the Speak Feed Lead Project, a nonprofit serving many communities.
At the Speak Feed Lead Project, we empower entrepreneurs, speakers, and families to find their unique voice and message through transformative retreats.
Like our signature talk retreat, where you'll spend 5 days in Costa Rica's Pacific jungle crafting and delivering your unique message.
Perhaps you're interested in our Family Talks retreat, where you'll strengthen family bonds and discover your signature talks together in 5 days on Costa Rica's Caribbean side.
You'll also find Jackie's VIP experience, where you'll work with her for 2 to 3 days, focusing entirely on your business and message, anywhere in the world that suits you.
To find another way to get in your groove and discover ways your message can shine brightly to more audiences, use this QR code to learn more.
Welcome back to In the Groove with Todd and Jackie. And we are having an amazing discussion with our good friend Michelle Jewsbury today. And before the break, we were talking about her fabulous books and the collaboration and the healing. And oh my gosh, if you got a story, even though you don't think you got a story, you should get a hold of Michelle to find out, hey, you got a story and we want it in her next book. So you should get a hold of Michelle. We'll tell you how. The connection is in the show description. So Michelle, moving forward, what else you got going on? I mean, you're doing a lot of things. What else are you getting in the groove with?
Getting in the groove. I love the name of your podcast. So there's a wide array of different things that we do. I run a for-profit and a nonprofit organization. So the for-profit is the book collaborations. It's one-on-one coaching. It's our group coaching course called Legacy Camp. So we don't have enough time to kind of talk about that. I would love to divulge a bit more information about what we're doing with Unsilenced Voices. So Unsilenced Voices was formed in 2017. I felt like that I needed to start this organization. Well, there was a gentleman that I met from Ghana who said, please go to my home country. So I literally packed my bags and flew to Ghana, not knowing anything. And that's kind of how Unsilenced Voices was started. So I was there, I started shaking hands, I started understanding the dynamic of domestic violence and sexual abuse in foreign countries, especially third world and developing nations. So while I was there, I kind of started to learn, okay, what do these women need? What do we really need to provide for them? Well, safe housing is one, and we are working in 2026 to make sure to secure the funding so that we can provide the housing necessary, particularly in Sierra Leone. But a lot of it is education, and it's not traditional schooling that a lot of these young girls need. Boys and men also experience domestic violence, but primarily in the countries that we work in, it's more young girls. So we were like, okay, so we started partnering with vocational training centers, expanded then to Rwanda, expanded to Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone right now in 2026 is the bulk of our programming. So in Sierra Leone, we have an office space that we've now converted into a school where we have about 90 girls attending vocational training in the little itty bitty teeny tiny area because we don't have the funding yet to build the actual
Mm-hmm.
school. We have 26 other girls who are taking vocational training outside of our office space. We've also done agricultural programs. We do savings box programs. We have a malnutrition program that we've partnered with the Peace Corps to provide really teaching the women how to feed their kids so that malnutrition is not a problem in Sierra Leone. A lot of young children die of starvation, and we want to stop that. So there's a lot of different things that we do. We've got roughly 1,800 people between two villages that we help to support. And of course, there's Matilda's program, which is called Sponsor a Survivor. You can find information about sponsораsurvivor.org.com, unsilencedvoices.com. There's a lot of call to actions there. They all lead you to the same place. But you can find more information there. In 2026, particularly, I am super excited. So there was a woman that I met while I was speaking at an event last year. And this woman is a very well-known, self-made billionaire out of Australia. And she wanted to take me on as a client and help me to kind of bring in the funding that we need. We're now in a position to where we have corporate sponsorship decks ranging from 50K, 100, 250, 500, and $1 million. With those, once you get 250 and above, you actually get trips to Sierra Leone so you can see what your money is going towards. There's a lot more that the donors receive besides just those trips, but those trips are really eye-opening. They will change your life. So if anybody's out there and they know of an organization, a corporation that has a surplus, a 250 to $1 million surplus every year, maybe a couple steps underneath Coca-Cola Company, that they're looking to donate, they're looking to partner with an organization that's really making a great impact, I would highly recommend doing this. Unsilenced Voices and me, I'm very, very good at getting exposure. So exposure for the organization, for the company, for them being a part of Unsilenced Voices, and of course the experience that you get for donating. So please, again, go to unsilencedvoices.org or sponsораsurvivor.org.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. I have been to Tanzania and worked with about 1,000 children there, and there's so much need.
Mm-hmm.
Abuse is part of the culture to some degree, and you don't want to necessarily change a culture, but when people are asking for help, you you want to help them, right? And so, there were little girls there who, when they started menstruating, they could no longer go to school 1 week out of every month, and then they get behind, and of course, then their professors would say, well, you can come back to school if, you give me a little special on the side. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the challenge that they have. And then they get pregnant and now they're completely out of school. Now they've got to support a family, which is really hard to do. There, we notice that a lot of men leave their wives with children. And so the wives who don't have a lot of skill, now they have to figure out, how do I, how do I do this? We met women who were in cancer treatment and they had to travel 7 hours once a week by bicycle, bus, horseback, whatever they could do with some kids in tow, oftentimes,
Mm-hmm.
to get to where they have to have their treatment done. It's so unfathomable for those of us that live in the luxury of the United States to even begin to understand the challenges that are there in some of those African countries. So, Michelle, I hope that you can find all the funding that you want and desire to be able to get these programs completed and done. And it would be great just to solve the problem. What's it wrong,
Yeah.
right?
I
Just,
mean, the
I
goal,
mean,
of course, is to work ourselves out of a job. But in the
exactly.
meantime, let's
Exactly.
do and make the most impact as we possibly can.
Absolutely. I appreciate so much that you're doing that. So what's next for you? I mean, that's a lot, but personally, you've been through a lot of angst. So
Crap.
what's next for Michelle personally?
So I'm dating a guy that I really love, which is amazing. In
Nice.
2026, we are planning a trip to Portugal for my birthday in August.
Wow.
I'm going to take my brother to Hawaii in May, so my brother and I can spread some of our parents' ashes there. My mom died in 19
Mm.
and my daddy in 2015. But really just, hanging out with friends, enjoying Tampa. I bought a house last year, so a house is a whole bunch of renovations and money and fencing and backyard. And so I get to do all of that, which is,
Yeah.
I feel like a true adult. Um, we'll see. But a lot of it is
You
spending
better
time on
find
the
that guy
water.
to help you, huh?
I mean, I think I have. AK is
Yeah.
an absolutely amazing man and very excited to have him in my life. And then we do a lot of boating and spending time on the water. I love the water. We'll do scuba diving a few times this year. So,
Very
Nice.
cool.
yeah.
Excellent.
Oh my goodness, we are just about out of time. We have busy schedules. We all
Hmm.
do, and we got to be on to the next groove. Got to pop over to
That's
that
right.
next groove, right? So before we go, Michelle, we want to know, what do you do every day to get in the groove?
Well, actually, this kind of shifted for me, and I didn't know that this question was coming, guys. Um, so I now am being more intentional with my mornings and taking 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, and having a gratitude talk with God. So
Aw.
just being grateful for what I have, for the opportunities that He has given me. Um, I live a pretty cool life. I can work from anywhere. I've got a handful of clients. I do well enough to where I don't have to have a day job. I'm I'm honored that he has gifted me this passion and the wherewithal to be able to pursue this and put
Mm.
people in front of my life every day that can help and guide me. So just gratitude every day for the beautiful world that we live in, despite all of the challenges and adversities that so many people face. It's really quite wonderful. So that's what I do every day to get in the groove.
Here's a tip, because you live in a very beautiful state. But years ago, I took the word gratitude and beautiful and bashed them together and came up with da 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 gratitudeful.
Gratitudeful. I love the word. That's
So
Yeah,
great.
there you go. Take it into your day.
that's right. That's right. Well, I'm so happy for you. And, again, we talk to people all the time where they've been through some pretty traumatic things, thought their lives were over at certain points of their life, could not foresee moving forward. You've been there. I've been there. Many people listening today have been there. And yet here we are, and we can feel gratitude every day. And now we look back at those challenges and think that was actually a blessing because it has led me to doing what I'm doing, to making the impact that I'm making, and be able to network and meet with so many other amazing people. So thank you, Michelle, again. I was so delighted to meet you. We actually met in person. I think it was about almost 3 years ago, in Los Angeles. And we stood on the red carpet, if you will, together, took some pictures. And once in a while, those pictures come up in my phone. And I just was like, that was such a magical time and magical moment that I got to meet you and feel, not just know about the wonderful things that you're doing, but to feel your tremendous spirit and energy that you have about you. And I know that you're doing so many great things in the world and all over the planet. So,
I should hire you both to do my intros for me. So I love that, Jackie. It was awesome to meet you as well. You guys are great. I am thrilled that you have now transitioned to In the Groove. What a fun name for a podcast. And
that's
I
right.
know you're helping so many individuals as well and young kids be able to use their voices to then create change. And that's just
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
And now we live under the same roof, which is really cool.
That's great.
I know, it's really great.
And, you know, maybe one of these years, one of these times, we're going to find a way that we can collaborate, where your talents and skills and my talents and skills will come together, and we'll do, you know, something collaborative together. I know you've invited me so graciously to be part of your book several times. You know, I've told my story a few times in other things, so I didn't necessarily want to dilute what you're doing by telling my story again, but
It wouldn't be a dilution, trust me, not at all. You don't say the same story. You say the story differently multiple
Yes.
times.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
remember that. And the more you
All
speak
right.
up, and this is for your audience primarily, not for you, Jackie, but the more you tell your story, the more it comes out of your mouth fluidly and in writing, the more you heal and the more you get to help
Absolutely.
heal others.
And every time I've told my story, someone, at least one person, has said, "Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I needed to hear that. I didn't know I could do that. I didn't know I could feel that. I didn't know that was important for me to recognize, you know, a number of things." So again, I think the name of your organization,
Unsilenced voices.
Unsilenced Voices, yeah, that itself says it's time for you to stop stepping back and start stepping up and speaking out, right?
Yeah.
And so, such a powerful mission.
Yeah.
Oh my
Thank you so
goodness,
much.
ladies, we're out of time. I'm sorry.
Okay.
We
No,
gotta
that's
go.
okay. Thank you guys very much. And
Thank you, Michelle.
good to see you guys again.
Yeah.
We hope that you enjoyed the show today. Our biggest hope is that you'll tell someone about the show and that you'll take your story, just like you heard. I think there's going to be some collaboration going on here after the show. But take your story, find Michelle, and get it in her book, because you got a story and it can make a difference. That's the biggest thing. It can make a difference in somebody else's life. Please, please, please make it a great day, because it's all about choice, and choose to be groovy. See ya. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye, Michelle.
That's a wrap for this episode of In the Groove with Todd and Jackie, where good vibes meet great conversations and changemakers take center stage.
We hope you've been inspired by today's guest and are ready to bring more positivity, connection, and impact into your world.
If you love this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs a little groove in their life.
And don't forget to check us out on toddandjackie.com for more great conversations.
Until next time, keep shining, keep grooving, and keep making a difference.